have subtitled this presentation, "Is it too early to clean up my garden?" Because that's really the question that we're going to be answering in the next few minutes here. This is a picture actually from my garden about a week ago. This is obviously not a clean garden. You can see they've got a few daffodils, some tulips coming up. There's also a lot of stems and some leaves left over from last year. So the quick answer to this question, is it too early to clean up my garden today on April 1st, is yes, it is too early to clean up your garden. I know at least in the Finger Lakes in Geneva where I am, it doesn't feel like a great day to clean up your garden, but there were some warm days about a week ago and people were really excited to get outside. The reasons that you should maybe pause on cleaning up your garden are because you want to be protecting insects that are doing some great services for you around your garden and in your yard. And basically these are two categories, wild bees, and then a group I'm calling lady beetles, lightning bugs, and a lot more that's hiding in the leaf litter. So there are a lot of wild bee species that are nesting right now in dead stems that might be in your garden. And in this picture here on the right is a fuzzy little wild bee, very cute. And if you are cutting down these dead stems and sending them in bags to your local compost facility, or even worse, putting them out with your trash, which we don't want you to do, you are taking those bees off your property and they will get composted. The lady beetles, lightning bugs, and a lot more insects that are hiding in the leaf litter are also great natural enemies of pests. And so you definitely want to keep those around your yard and garden. And so at the bottom of this slide, I have a ground beetle. In this picture on the left, it has really big jaws. We don't notice these beetles so often, but they are eating insects and also weed seeds, either at the soil level or maybe underneath some mulch. If you clean up leaves too early, you're disturbing these beetles before it's warm enough for them to start finding food. This next picture is an adult firefly or lightning bug, depending on which part of the country you grew up in. And the larvae of the fireflies are also going to be spending the winter under the leaf litter. And then I have two pictures of lady beetles. One is a pink spotted lady beetle hanging out on the zinnia, and one is a 7-spotted lady beetle. And these are just more examples of beneficial insects that need that leaf litter that is in your messy garden right now to survive until the temperatures get a little bit warmer. So when do I clean up my garden? All right, it's too early now, but when can I start? Today might not be the best weather day, although I hear on Long Island it is a beautiful day. But we will hopefully be having some great weather even here in upstate New York, and you might want to get outside. None of the dates or suggestions that I have on this slide are set in stone, but if you are looking for some specifics, here are some that you can think about. One recommendation is to wait until you submit your taxes, so at least until April 15th. But longer would probably be better. So it's probably going to still be pretty chilly here on April 15th. And if you clean up your entire garden, you may still be taking away some important shelter for insects. Another option would be to wait until your lawn needs regular mowing. And that's because cool season grasses won't start growing until the soil warms up to a certain temperature. If you have apple and pear trees that are nearby, you can wait to see when they're done blooming, which will probably be around mid-May, depending on where you live. Or if you want to be really on the safe side, you can wait until you're ready to plant your tomatoes outside, which around here is usually late May. But this is going to be when temperatures are consistently above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. This is just another picture of another messy part of my garden. My lawn garden is not winning any prizes on my street, but I'm protecting a lot of insects. Also, just want to give you permission to not try to achieve perfection when it comes to leaving your messy garden. So here are two examples of some small cleanup that I did in my garden. So in this picture on the left, it's hard to see, but there's actually a hyacinth under all these dead stems. So I cut away enough dead stems that this little hyacinth and also this yarrow plant could get some sunlight. And then I also had some dead calendula stems that were covering up this nice clump of early daffodils, and I wanted to give them a chance to bloom and get some sunlight, so I cut out those dead stems too. I left most of the rest of my garden messy, and I just want to give you official permission. If there's a part of your garden that you really, really want to clean up, it's okay, you're not a bad person. What I did do though was these stems that I cut out of my garden, I piled them next to my compost pile in the back of my yard. So I didn't bag them up and take them away, just in case there's any insects still sleeping, overwintering in these stems. They're still on my property. You can also see here I have some dead sunflower stems from last fall, and I think these were cosmos. I will note that if you join us next month for What's Bugging You First Friday, you will learn why there are some things that are not optimal about this compost facility that I have set up here. So be sure to tune in for May's What's Bugging You First Friday. And then in this picture on the right, I have a garden bed in my backyard that people don't see. It gets a lot of shade. It's kind of a better spot for a more wild and woodsy garden. So this is another situation where it's going to be easier for me to leave this spot a little bit messier. Whereas my front yard, I might say I want to clean up more of it compared to the backyard. The other note I will add here is that we do have great information on our website about the relationship between how you manage your lawn and your yard and ticks. That's the question people ask. Oh, if I don't clean up my garden, will I have problems with ticks? We've got answers for you on our website about that concern. And that is all I have. So my take-home message this weekend, your task is do not clean up your garden. That's all you have to do.
Excellent. Thank you, Amara. There were a few questions that came in. I think you addressed the first one. What if you put the cut stems and other plant material in your own compost pile? But I think you're suggesting maybe putting them on the side so that things can still emerge.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on what kind of compost pile you have. If it's a compost pile that's really active, maybe put your stems on the side so that your insects don't actively compost. My compost pile that I showed you a picture of is definitely not active. It's a much more passive compost pile. So they would probably be okay in that pile. And I think, you don't want to bury the stems too deeply. There's a question in the chat, can I put compost on top of the leaves and dead brush? I would leave them uncovered until you get to like midsummer. By midsummer, all the insects will have come out regardless of the type of insect it is. And then you can compost those dead stems and leaves any way you'd like.